Eastern. So as we discussed earlier, the Cowboys and Dak Prescott have returned to the negotiating table for the first time since the team used the exclusive franchise tag on the star quarterback earlier this month, a source told our Ed Werder. Here's Werder with the latest.
Dak Prescott's side, Todd France's agent, they want a 4-year deal because they know there's going to be a new TV contract and a lot of new money coming into the NFL teams in the next 2 years, and that the salary cap's going to go up exponentially, and he wants to be able to take advantage of that when he finishes his next contract with the Cowboys. And the Cowboys have a history of preferring to do 5- and 6-year contracts so they can spread the salary cap signing bonus over a greater number of years, thereby lessening the impact in the early years of the deal.
Ed, thank you. So there appears to be no resolution in sight. Dominique Foxworth will join the debate in just a moment. But Stephen A., since this is the Cowboys, obviously I want to start with you. I think Stephen A. is having some technical difficulties. Sorry, we're dealing with unusual circumstances here, everyone. So Max, you are up first. Tell me this. No resolution in sight as of right now. Is Dak Prescott getting a fair deal?
He would be getting a fair deal were the Cowboys not to have waited until now. In other words, he's in line with the marketplace at this point if reports are true about the guarantee and the average annual. That's in line with Carson Wentz and Jared Goff and that class of quarterback, and he's if I had to choose who I'd take, I'd probably take Wentz because of the upside, Dak, and then Goff in that order, but you could have other orders of those three, and if he's in the mix with those guys, that sounds about right, even if he's the next guy up. He hasn't proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that he's number one in that group, nor that he's the best quarterback. He's certainly not Patrick Mahomes. But Molly, when you wait this long for a guy you drafted in the 4th round and has made a grand total of peanuts throughout his career compared to everyone else at his position, then you can say maybe it's not a fair deal. You know, maybe you need to do a little bit more. And to me, it's what's more than that is the Cowboys are showing every indication of caving. So as I said a couple weeks ago, it's like that bad Santa scene where, you know, who was it? It was Bernie Mac, right? Cutting the deal. He said, I want half. What about 30%? Half. 40%? Half. All Dak's got to do is keep sitting there saying half. It looks like the Cowboys are moving toward him. So it would be a fair deal had they not handled it this way. At this point, maybe Dak's like, nah, you got to do a little more. And my suspicion is they will.
Well, it's not about doing a little bit more because I think it's obvious they need to do a little bit more. But in the same breath, you know, Dak's got to understand nobody gets every single thing that.
It appears we're having some difficulty with Stephen A.'s camera. We will get that back in just a moment. Max, Dominique Foxworth is also here. Dominique, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Tell me this, Dominique. Oh, we'll wait on Dominique. I'm told he's also dealing with some issues. So, Max, I'm coming back to you on this because it was interesting what you said about the leverage. Do you think Dak has the leverage here rather than the Cowboys?
For what I said, look at the way the Cowboys have behaved. Look at Jerry Jones's history. He's stated whenever he's made his big deals, he's always so-called overpaid for them, including the Cowboys. Jerry Jones is not a guy who seems to me to make his money on the margins. He makes his money with a big imagination, with big ideas. So when it comes to this kind of nitpicking and marginal kind of negotiation, I think he's going to fold. I think he's going to say, you know what, this is the guy that we know we're going to take, so what's a few dollars more or 1 year less or something like that, even as Stephen Jones is there with people imploring Jerry, you know, wait a minute, we got to handle this the right way or the more kind of specifically correct way. And then I look at what they've done with other players on the team. They signed everyone. Everyone they had money for, they gave them the money. In fact, they even, they let one player in the secondary go who maybe they should have kept, but you could argue Byron Jones was about to get overpaid. The point with Dak is if they just took Ezekiel Elliott, the second most famous guy on the team, and the guy around whom the offense is really primarily based, and the guy they spent the high draft pick on, and said, we will not allow him to set the market. And Zeke had very little leverage. He couldn't just sit out and become a free agent. They promptly set the market with Zeke. So now they're going to toe the line with a franchise quarterback who's said and done all the right things. and probably who they recognize we're going to have to rely more on him if we want to win the Super Bowl. His rookie contract is up anyway. We have what we have. I doubt they will. I just don't think that they're going to play hardball at the 11th hour with Dak and risk what they've built.
Max, excuse me. I'm being told as we're social distancing that Stephen A. is back. Yes, Stephen A., pick up where you left off.
Well, what I was saying is that Dak Prescott's got to be careful, because you have to remember, you know what, you can play hardball all you want to, and we understand that's a part of negotiations. But when you're as valuable as him, but the Cowboys are who they are, and Jerry Jones is known to be the kind of guy that can cut off his nose to spite his face, per se, if guys decide to stick out their chest a little bit too much. You got to be careful about that. Nobody gets everything they want during the negotiations. And yes, I'm going to go here, especially a black man. If this were Tony Romo, it would be an entirely different story. He's like an adopted son of Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones loves this man. And when he was playing for the Dallas Cowboys, even though his level of production didn't measure up to what Dak Prescott has been putting out there, having not missed a game, being more durable, more trustworthy physically, etc., it would have been a different ball game. But that's Dak Prescott now. This is Dak Prescott.
Okay, we've lost Stephen A., and Dominique Foxworth is here. So, Dominique, we'll finally get to hear from you. No more false alarms. Where are you on this subject?
Well, everybody knows I'm a big Dak Prescott fan, so I'm happy that they're going to pay him. And I think $35 million is about right for what he deserves. It makes him the highest. It puts him up there with the other extremely high-paid quarterbacks right next to Russell Wilson. So I'm happy to see that he's going to get his money. The 4 or 5 years is not as big a deal to me, but I think if we look at the trajectory of where the salary cap is headed, by that time, quarterbacks will be making, the top end will be making $45 million. So I think he's setting himself up for that money. But I think if we're being honest, we have to understand that Jerry Jones is a showman. And as much as we want to believe all of this stuff is legitimate, I kind of get the feeling that he wants to stay in the news cycle. And anytime there's a lull in sports news, Jerry Jones is going to create something to get us talking about him. I certainly appreciate it. And I think, to be honest with you, I feel like Dak's going to get the deal. He's going to get exactly what he wants for as long as he wants. And all this time, Jerry Jones has kind of sucked us in, again, to talking about whether he's being properly respected or not. So I like what they're doing. I've been trumpeting Dak's greatness for quite some time. I hope they finally do get this deal done and he doesn't have to play this year on a franchise tag, because if he does, I think he'll end up playing 2 years on a franchise tag, and then he'll leave Dallas, and Dallas will be left without a quarterback, which is the hardest thing to find in football.
That's the only explanation I've come up with the way the Cowboys have handled this, Dominique. I said it a couple weeks ago. The only explanation is you're keeping the Cowboys in the news. What else could the explanation be?
No question. I appreciate everyone bearing with us as we're dealing with the social distancing technical difficulties. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Dominique, thank you for being with us. When we come back, we have much more regarding the NFL. Wait till you hear what Joe Montana had to say about Tom Brady. Is he throwing shade, and is it valid? Plus, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, what are they going to do next year? Star running back Mark Ingram will join First Take coming up.
Lamar Jackson will keep it. Steps inside of one tackle, breaks a tackle. He's in midfield, weaves his way to the Texans 40, 35, 30, still on his feet, 20, bangs his way down to the 19-yard line. First down, Ravens.
What a run.